Hi guys, welcome to week 3 of the building works. We're really cracking on with them now. So we've got lots done. Obviously I left you last week with painting the metal beams that we're going to put on top of one of our beams that's broken, and we've now started to install that. So we've painted it black and we've managed to put it up onto the top of the beam. We've now got that up, and that's now supporting the beam, and that's allowed us to reduce or remove the aquapops that were holding that, and hopefully that will last another 100 years. So when we put the metal steel beam up, we were hoping to put one on one side and sandwich it with another one on the other side. But the only problem is that when we were drilling the holes, if you go off just a 1 degree angle, by the time you get through the end of the beam, it just puts it out of sync with the other piece of steel beam that we've got. So although we tried to lift it up and line it up, it was just impossible to line all the holes up. So what we've done instead is I've just bought some large washers, and I've used them instead just to hold the beam in place. Now, as the beam goes into the wall and into the wooden A-frame, it's pretty solid. It's going to hold that beam. Nothing's going to happen. We're quite happy with the repair. But we've just changed it slightly, and now I've got a spare steel beam for another repair that I'll have to do some other time. So I'm just in the doorway here, which goes into our house, and as you can see, we've just put some insulation there to stop anything getting through while we're finishing the works. But when we were digging down, we actually found a massive stone, which is obviously kind of the foundation stone. And we had to dig that out in order to be able to get our step in and put some insulation and everything else. So we're going to have a step going into the house, or down into the house. And we had to dig out a massive stone, and it looks really, really good. So what we've decided to do is put it in the garden, standing it up. And it makes a really nice little feature in our garden. So we're quite happy with that. So one of the things that we were slightly worried about is this wooden A-frame that sits behind me. That sort of horizontal beam isn't quite horizontal. It's at a slight angle. So we're slightly worried that it's pushing the wall out, which is why it's then kind of falling at an angle. This could have happened ages ago when they first built the house or repaired the barn. It could have just pushed it out when they first built it as everything was settling. But at the same time, because we're creating bigger openings, we want to make sure it's structurally sound. So we're going to buy a large, big beam and sit it underneath just to add some extra support to it. So there we are. Now you can see that we've got the big beam that's supporting the A-frame, and we've squeezed it in, just trimming it in, landing on the concrete floor. And when we come to screed, we'll screed around it. And all I have to do is in about 6 months' time, just make sure that it's not coming loose, because obviously the wood will contract when we get the heating on in here. It will start to contract, so we just got to make sure it's still tight. 6 months time and then a year, and if it's a little bit loose, just put in a few wedges just to make sure it's still tight. But I'm really happy with that, and although we've had to do it just to kind of add a little bit of extra support and strength, I think it's going to make a really nice feature. So as you can see, we've got the door in place now. We've got the beam raised so I can fit underneath the door. We're going to have to get the door frame in, but I've also chiseled off all the concrete, the ugly concrete that was on the side, so that we're left with all the stonework, and we'll repoint that and it will look really, really nice. So I'm really happy with that door, and at least I don't have to duck and hit my head on it anymore. I have to say, I absolutely love the fact that we've managed to keep this granite stone on top of the door on the outside. It really adds a really nice feature. Loving that. It's going to look really, really good. So we've also created, or the builders have created, the other window in the large wall here. We've actually made it slightly smaller just to give us a little bit more strength on either side, because we're opening up quite a bit of this old wall. But it's starting to look really good. They've finished off the surroundings, So we have to buy a new, smaller window and take the other one back and hopefully get a refund. We're hopefully picking that up on next week, and then the builders can fit that too. You can really start to see the view that we're going to get out of these windows, and it really takes advantage of our garden. So can't wait to get this finished and keep watching the wildlife outside in our garden. So we're now ready to start screeding the concrete floor. So we've emptied the room, and as you can see, it's starting to look quite empty. And starting to look like a room. We've got our stove in place because that's going to sit on our hearth, so we wanted to get that in place before we started screeding. Once we've screeded, the idea is the builders will screed from one corner and work their way back out the hole in the wall that they've left, and then they'll build the rest of the wall from the outside once they've screeded, because we want to try and get this floor screeded and level and drying as soon as possible. So that will all be next week. So I look forward to showing you how we progress next week. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and click the bell so that you get notified of our next video. And I'll see you next week. Cheers guys, bye.